Welcome to my channel. Do you feel lost when people speak English fast? Do you understand the words but still cannot speak? Do you freeze when it's your turn to talk? You're not lazy. You're not slow. You just need the right start. I had the same problem. But one small thing changed everything. I learned just 50 simple words. Yes, only 50. And with those 50 words, I began to speak English. Real English. Not perfect. Not fast. But real. That was my turning point. Comment below if you also feel stuck with English sometimes. Let's talk. Now, let me take you back to the day it all started. Chapter 1. The moment I felt I was broken. I remember that day clearly. I was in my classroom. The teacher asked a simple question. Everyone looked at me. I wanted to answer. I really did. But no words came out of my mouth. My hands started to shake. My heart beat faster. I looked down. I felt cold and small. The teacher waited for me. I tried to say something. Anything. But my tongue was frozen. It was like my brain knew the answer, but my mouth couldn't move. That silence was loud. It hurt me. I felt like I was broken. Later that day, I went home and cried. I knew I could understand English. I watched English movies. I listened to English songs. I even laughed at the jokes. But when it was my turn to speak, I couldn't say even one full sentence. I asked myself, what's wrong with me? I saw other people speak easily. They were not afraid. They didn't stop and think so much. But me, I stayed quiet. I was scared of mistakes. I was scared people would laugh. I was scared I would look stupid. That night, I lay on my bed and stared at the ceiling. I felt like I would never speak well. I thought, maybe I'm not smart. Maybe English is not for me. I wanted to give up. But deep inside, something whispered to me, don't stop. You are not broken. You just need to begin in a new way. I listened to that voice. It was soft, but it gave me hope. The next morning, I sat with my notebook. I looked at all the words I had written before. Big, hard words I tried to remember. But I didn't know how to use them. I had studied many words, but I couldn't speak. That made me think, maybe I don't need more words. Maybe I need fewer. Just the ones I need every day. Just the ones I can use now. That thought felt fresh, like the first light after a dark night. I remembered something my friend once said. He said, even a child can speak a language, but they don't start with big words. They start with small ones, easy ones, daily ones. That made me smile. I didn't need to know 1,000 words. Maybe I just needed 50. Just 50. That idea changed everything. That evening, I opened my phone and searched most common English words. I found a list. It had words like I, you, go, want, like, have, need, this, that, is, are, happy, sad. They were simple. Very simple. I already knew them, but I never used them. I always looked for harder words, thinking they were better. But maybe the power was in the simple ones. I wrote those 50 words in big letters on a page. I said each one slowly. I want, go, food. My voice was soft, but it was my voice. It was me trying. And that was enough for now. I stuck the paper on my wall. I promised myself, I will not learn more words this week. I will only use these 50. I will master them. I will speak them. I will feel them. The next day, something beautiful happened. I was at the shop. I wanted to buy bread. Usually, I stayed silent and just pointed. But this time, I looked at the man and said, I want bread. Just 3 words. But the man smiled. He gave me the bread. I said, "Thank you." He said, "You're welcome." That moment felt like a miracle. I spoke. He understood. We connected. It was real. When I came home, I looked at the paper on my wall. Those 50 words were not just words now. They were my tools, my voice, my beginning. I was not broken. I was just trying to do too much too soon. But now I would go slowly, with love, with hope, with 50 words and a dream. Chapter 2. The day I discovered 50 words can change everything. That day, something inside me changed. I had always thought that to speak English well, I needed to learn hundreds of words. I needed to study hard. I needed to memorize grammar rules and long vocabulary lists. But now I saw the truth. I didn't need many words. I just needed the right words. Simple words. Useful words. Words I could use every day. It all started with a video. A man said, "You don't need big English. You need basic English. Start with 50 words. These 50 words can make 1,000 sentences." At first, I didn't believe him. Only 50? That sounded too small. Too easy. But I was tired of feeling stuck. I wanted to speak. So I gave it a try. I paused the video and wrote down the words. I, you, he, she, it, we, they, want, go, have, like, need, get, see, eat, do, make, is, are, was, were, this, that, good, bad, happy, sad, more, less, here, there, now, later, big, small, yes, no, can, cannot, will, won't, my, your, his, her, food, water, time, day, work, and home. I looked at the list. These were not new to me. I had seen them before, but I had never used them to speak. I always thought I needed something more difficult to sound smart. But what if sounding smart wasn't the goal? What if the goal was to be clear, to connect, to say what I feel? I held the list in my hands and smiled. I could already imagine sentences. I want food. He is happy. They are here. My heart beat faster. It was working. The idea was simple, but it made me feel powerful. I felt like I had just found a secret key. A small key that could open a big door. I took that list and made flashcards. 1 word per card. I carried them in my pocket. When I was waiting in line, I looked at the words. When I was walking to school, I said the words out loud. When I was eating, I picked a word and made a sentence in my mind. I eat rice. This food is good. I am happy now. My English was coming to life. And then, I did something that changed everything. I stood in front of the mirror. I looked at myself and spoke. I go now. You are nice. We want water. I laughed. Felt funny at first. Like I was playing a game. But it also felt real. I wasn't studying anymore. I was using English. My own English. I practiced with feeling. I didn't just say, I am happy. I smiled and felt happy. I didn't just say, I am sad. I looked into my eyes and felt the sadness. I used my hands, my face, my heart. Each word became stronger. Each sentence became more natural. I was not just learning English. I was living it. That night, I went online and joined an English group. We were all beginners. We talked using only simple words. At first, I was shy. But then I saw others using the same words I had learned. We made jokes. We helped each other. I wrote, I want to learn more. A girl replied, Me too. That small sentence made me smile. We were learning together. From that day, I promised myself one thing. I will not wait to be perfect. I will speak with the words I have. I will grow slowly. I will speak today, not tomorrow. I will use these 50 words until they feel like home. I knew I would still make mistakes. I knew I would still feel nervous. But I also knew something else. I was finally moving. I was no longer stuck. I was no longer waiting. I had found the first stone on the path. And I was ready to take the next step. I went to sleep that night with the list of 50 words beside my pillow. I closed my eyes and whispered, "I can do it." And for the first time in a long time, I believed it. Chapter 3. I spoke my first real sentences with just 50 words. The next morning, I woke up with energy in my heart. I looked at the list of 50 words next to my bed. These words were not just words now. They were tools. They were my voice. They were my chance to speak, to connect, to live in English. I stood in front of the mirror, just like the day before. But this time, I didn't just say the words. I made sentences. Short, simple, real sentences. I am here. You are happy. I want food. He is nice. We go now. Each sentence was like a small light turning on inside me. My mouth moved easily. My mind felt clear. I was not trying to be perfect. I was just trying to speak. And it worked. For the first time in my life, I was really speaking English. Not from a textbook, not in an exam, but in my own voice with my own feelings. That day, I walked to the shop near my home. Usually I stayed quiet. I would point or use my native language. But this time I was brave. I looked at the man at the counter. I smiled and said, "I want milk." He looked at me, nodded, and gave me the milk. I said, "Thank you." He said, "You're welcome." That small moment was big for me. I walked out of the shop with a smile so wide, it reached my ears. I did it. I spoke English and it worked. Later, I sat in the park and watched people walk by. In my mind, I made more sentences using the same 50 words. She is my friend. They go home now. I am not sad. You are funny. I didn't say them out loud, but I said them in my brain. It was like my brain was learning how to think in English. Felt good. Felt strong. That night, I sent a message to a friend who was also learning English. I said, "I can speak now. Just a little. But it feels good." She replied, "Really? Tell me how." I sent her the list of 50 words. I told her to try what I did. She said, "Okay, let's do it together." And just like that, I had someone to practice with. We started sending each other voice messages. Only short ones. Only using the 50 words. At first, we laughed a lot because our sentences were funny and simple. But we understood each other. That was the best part. We were not studying anymore. We were living English, using English, feeling English. Every day, I made 10 new sentences using the same 50 words. I wrote them in a notebook. I said them out loud. I recorded my voice and listened again. Sometimes I made mistakes. Sometimes I forgot a word. But I didn't stop. I kept going. And every day I felt more comfortable. I even started speaking to my parents in English. Just small things. I am hungry. You are nice. I go now. They didn't always understand, but they smiled. They were proud. They said, "Your English is better now." And I felt proud too. Not because I knew many words, but because I could finally speak. Speaking English is not about using big words. It's about using your words. The words you know. The words you feel. The words that are real to you. Those 50 words gave me power. They gave me hope. They gave me a new beginning. I started to enjoy speaking. I wasn't afraid anymore. I didn't wait for the perfect sentence. I just spoke. Slowly. Simply. Clearly. And people listened. That gave me more courage. One day, I joined a group call for English beginners. We had to introduce ourselves. I was nervous, but I remembered my words. I said, "Hello, my name is Adam. I am from Pakistan. I want to learn English. I like food and books." Everyone clapped. Someone said, "Good job." I felt like I had won a prize. I had spoken real English and people understood me. That was the moment I knew. I am not a beginner anymore. I am a speaker. Chapter 4. The Magic of Repetition and Emotion. After I spoke my first sentences, something inside me woke up. I felt proud. I felt alive. I felt like a door had opened. But I also felt something else. I knew this was just the beginning. I had to keep going. I had to make those 50 words a part of me. I wanted to speak better, faster, and with more feeling. I wanted the words to live inside me, not just in my notebook. So I began repeating, again and again, not just once, not just twice. I said the same words every morning. I stood in front of the mirror and spoke to myself. I want water. I go now. This is good. That is bad. My voice felt stronger each day. I didn't feel shy anymore. I didn't feel silly. I felt brave. I learned something very important. When I repeat, I remember. When I repeat, I improve. And when I add emotion to those words, I feel something deep. That feeling makes the words stick. It makes them mine. I didn't just say, "I am happy." I smiled when I said it. I looked at my face. I felt the word. I didn't just say, "I am sad." I closed my eyes. I felt the heaviness, the slow voice, the silence. I didn't just say, "I want food." I imagined the smell of food, my stomach making sounds. Each word became real. Each sentence had life. That was the magic of emotion. I repeated words during small moments. When I brushed my teeth, I whispered, "This is my hand. This is water." When I walked to school, I said, "I go now. I walk. I see trees." When I was tired, I said, "I want sleep. I need rest." These were not just sentences. They were my thoughts spoken in English. I made it fun. I played games with myself. I chose one word, like happy, and made 5 sentences. I am happy. You are happy. He is happy. We are happy. This food is happy. Yes, I laughed at the last one. But laughter helps. Mistakes help. Emotions help. Some days I felt strong. I spoke fast. Other days I felt slow and unsure. But I still repeated the same words. I told myself, just do it again. One more time. And that one more time made all the difference. I listened to my voice. I watched my mouth move. I paid attention to how the words felt in my chest. I repeated until I felt something click, like a key opening a lock. Suddenly, the sentence felt easy, natural, like breathing. One night I cried, not because I was sad, but because I realized I was changing. I was growing. The language that once made me afraid now made me feel strong. I had power now. I could express myself. I could speak. I remember walking to the mirror, looking into my eyes, and saying, "I can speak English." I said it slowly, softly, then louder. I said it again and again. I cried while saying it, because I believed it. After so long, I believed it. The power is not in big grammar. The power is in small words, deep feelings, and daily practice. That is the secret nobody tells you. You don't need more books. You don't need more rules. You need to repeat with feeling, speak with heart, Use your body, your eyes, your hands. Let the words live in you. I began to teach my younger brother. I gave him the same 50 words. I told him, say it like you mean it. Feel it. He laughed, but he listened. And soon he started to speak too. Now I understood something. Words are not just sounds. They are emotion. They are energy. When you feel them, you remember them. When you repeat them with love, they grow inside you. So I kept repeating. Every day. Every moment I could find. I whispered words before sleep. I said them in the morning. I said them when I felt strong. I said them when I felt weak. I didn't stop, because I knew every word I repeated was one step closer to fluency. One step closer to freedom. One step closer to the person I wanted to become. Chapter 5. I used these 50 words everywhere. After some days of repeating my words with emotion, I felt something new. I felt ready to use them in real life. I didn't want to keep my English inside the room or in front of the mirror. I wanted to take it outside. I wanted to use it with real people in real places for real things. So I did. Started small. At home, I began to speak with my family. Simple sentences. Very easy. I want tea. This is good. I go now. Thank you. My parents smiled. My little brother laughed. But I kept going. Because it felt real. I was not practicing anymore. I was speaking. I was living the language. Then I used my words in the market. I went with my list in my pocket. I looked at the fruit and said, "This is apple." I told the man at the stall, "I want two." He understood me. He smiled and said, "Okay." That moment felt like flying. I had said a sentence. He understood. I got what I wanted. I felt proud. At school, I started talking to one friend. Not in full English. Just small parts. I said, "This class is hard." He laughed and replied, "Yes, very hard." I said, "I need food." He said, "Me too." We both laughed. These were not big talks, but they were real. I was finally using English to talk with others. One day I joined a study group. Everyone there was also learning English. We agreed to use only the easy words we knew. Just the 50 words. And it worked. We said, "I have a book. This is my pen. Where is he? I go home." We used hand movements, eyes, and smiles to help each other understand. It was not perfect, but it was beautiful. We were all trying, and we were helping each other. I felt like I belonged. I started writing small notes in English. On my water bottle, I wrote, "Drink water." On the door, I wrote, "Go now." On my desk, I put a card that said, "You can do it." These words were simple, but they gave me power. They reminded me every day, I am learning. I am growing. I sent short messages in English to my friends. Just a few words. "How are you? I like this. This is nice." They replied in simple English too. Sometimes we made mistakes, but we didn't stop. We laughed at the funny messages. We learned together. I also used these words online. On YouTube, I searched only with simple words. Easy English story. English for beginners. Short sentences. I watched videos. I repeated the sentences. I commented using the 50 words I knew. I was not shy anymore. I even used English in games. When I played a mobile game, I named my character Happy Girl or Fast Boy. When I won, I said, "I am good." When I lost, I said, "Bad day." It was funny, but it helped me use English everywhere. I used the 50 words in my daily thoughts. When I was walking, I thought, I go now. When I saw the sky, I said, this is blue. When I ate lunch, I said, this is hot. I was not speaking to anyone, but I was still using English. My brain was learning. I used English while singing songs. I didn't understand every word, but I looked for the words I knew. I, you, want, happy, go, love. I sang along. I felt the words. The music made them stronger. Even when I was sad or tired, I used those 50 words. I said, I feel bad. I want rest. Today is not good. And when I felt better, I said, I am okay now. This is a good day. I used the same small words, but with big emotions. The more I used the words, the more they became mine. They were not just English words now. They were my words, my voice, my truth. Fluency didn't come from a book. It came from using simple words every day. In my room, the school, on the street, in my mind, in my heart. That is when I understood the real secret. English is not a subject. English is a daily habit, a small thing you carry everywhere. And that habit of using just 50 words again and again can grow into something big. Chapter 6. Then I added 10 words more, and then 20. I remember the day clearly. I was sitting in my room, reading the same 50 words again. They felt like old friends now. I knew them so well. I could use them in many sentences. I could speak with them, think with them, and even write with them. These 50 words had opened the door for me. I was no longer afraid of English. I was speaking. I was living. I was growing. And then, a small voice inside me said, you are ready now. Add a few more. I smiled. Yes, I was ready. I didn't need to add 100 new words. I just needed to add 10. So I picked 10 words that I wanted to use in my daily life. Words like before, after, because, school, sleep, friend, family, fun, hot, and cold. They were not hard, but they made my English bigger. I started using them with my 50 words. I sleep after work. This food is hot. I like school because it is fun. Suddenly, I had more power in my sentences. I was not just speaking. I was explaining. I was telling stories. I was sharing more of me. I didn't learn all 10 words in one day. I added one word, used it for 2 or 3 days, and then added another. I wanted to feel each word. I wanted it to stay in my mind. I didn't want to forget. So I used each word again and again. I spoke it. I wrote it. I repeated it in my thoughts. I connected it with real life. I didn't rush. I didn't push myself. I just took one small step at a time. And every step made my English stronger. After a week, I had 60 words. And those 60 words gave me 10 times more ways to speak. I started telling my friend about my day. Today I went to school. It was hot, but I had fun. I ate with my friend. After that, we walked home. I was not reading this. I was not copying. I was just speaking from my heart, using the words I knew. That made me feel free. Slowly, I added more words. I added 10 more, then 5 more, then 3 more. I didn't count every time, but I always checked one thing. Can I use this word in my real life? If the answer was yes, I kept it. If not, I waited. I didn't want hard, strange words. I wanted my words, words that matched my world. I didn't learn philosophy or economics. I learned shoes, walk, rain, song, game, tired. Today, tomorrow. These were real to me. These were useful. And slowly, these words became part of my daily story. I started using these new words in my journal. Every night, I wrote 3 sentences in English. Today was cold. I ate rice. I feel tired now. So simple, but so real. I was writing my life. I wasn't afraid of grammar. I wasn't thinking about mistakes. I was only thinking, what do I want to say? And I said it. That is fluency. Not perfect words. Just true words. Words that come from your heart and reach someone else's ears. I noticed something strange. The more I added new words, the faster I spoke. Not because I was trying to speak fast, but because my sentences felt complete. I didn't have to stop and think every second. The words were ready. They were waiting in my brain. They wanted to come out. I just had to open my mouth. I spoke to myself in the morning. Today will be fun. I spoke to my dog. You are funny. I spoke to my teacher. I feel good now. It was not big talk, but it was real talk. Every time I added a new word, I felt like I was planting a seed. If I used the word every day, the seed became a small plant. Then it became a flower. And soon I had a small garden of English. A garden made with care. A garden full of color, feeling, and peace. Not a forest. Not a big jungle. Just a simple garden that I could walk in. That I could enjoy. That I could grow. And the best part? I didn't feel pressure anymore. I wasn't racing to finish. I wasn't chasing fluency. I was living fluency. Every day, with every word, I felt it more and more. English was no longer something outside me. It was inside me. Inside my thoughts, my voice, my smile. And it all started with just 50 words. Then 10 more. Then 20. Then freedom. Chapter 7. Fluent doesn't mean perfect. It means free. There came a day when someone asked me, "Are you fluent now?" I stopped. I thought for a moment. I did not know how to answer. I still made mistakes. I still forgot words. I still spoke slowly sometimes. But something had changed inside me. I was no longer afraid. I no longer waited. I spoke when I wanted to speak. I understood people. I shared my thoughts. So I smiled and said, "Yes, I think I am fluent." Because I had learned something very important. Fluency does not mean perfect. It means free. For many years, I believed fluency was speaking fast, using big words, sounding like a native speaker. But now I see the truth. Real fluency is something much simpler. It means you can say what you want. It means you can talk without fear. It means you can live in the language, even if your grammar is not perfect. Even if your accent is different. Even if your words are small. Fluency is not about showing off. It's about connecting. It's about being understood. I remember one moment clearly. I was at a small cafe. A tourist came in and looked confused. He asked, "Do you know where the train station is?" I listened. I understood. And I answered, "Yes, go straight. Then turn left. It is near the big store." He smiled and said, "Thank you so much. Your English is good." I didn't speak fast. I didn't use difficult words. But he understood me, and I helped him. That was the moment I knew. I am fluent enough. Fluency doesn't live in your grammar book. It lives in your daily life. It lives in the way you say hello to a stranger or thank you to a friend. It lives in the way you tell someone about your day, your feelings, your dreams. You don't need perfect words to speak your truth. You need courage. You need practice. You need love for the language. And you need to begin with what you have. I no longer count how many words I know. I no longer worry about speaking perfectly. Now I focus on what I can say. And I say it. I speak slowly. I speak simply. But I speak. That is freedom. That is fluency. Every day I grow a little more. I learn one new word. I try one new sentence. I listen, I repeat, I speak. Some days are easy. Some days are hard. But I keep going. Because I know now mistakes are not the enemy. Silence is. If I speak, I grow. If I stay quiet, I stay stuck. I see now that fluency is a journey. It does not come in one day. It does not come from one book. It comes from small steps, taken with love. From 50 words repeated again and again. From speaking even when your voice shakes. From trying even when you are tired. And from believing that your English, your story, your voice matters. So if you are watching this and still feeling afraid, please remember this. You do not need to be perfect to begin. You do not need to wait until you are ready. You are ready now. Speak with what you have. Use your 50 words. Feel your sentences. Speak to your mirror, your pet, your heart. Speak to the world. Even if it's small, even if it's slow, it still counts. It still matters. Because one day you will look back and smile. You will remember the time when English felt impossible. And you will say, now I can speak. And that moment will be yours forever. Not because you are perfect, but because you are free.